Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to a late episode 6 of the 50/50 podcast. I am here joined with our special guest, Bass, as well as my co-hosts, Bop and Money, who just arrived. Oh, what a guy. I thought it was Bop just arriving late. It's MoneyGo. He's here. How's everybody doing, though? Bass, how are you doing?
Doing good. Just kind of vibing on what day of the week is it? Is it Thursday? I'm gonna be honest.
sir.
The days blend during the off season. There's not much schedule here, but doing fine. Vibing. Excited to get into the show today. I've been, I've seen many of the guests you've had on 50/50, so I'm honored to be one of them.
Some very sexy people, let me tell you. Bop and Money, how you boys doing as well?
I'm doing good, doing good. Just got here, but a little bit late, a little bit late on the train, making my list, the top 25 players. And I think I cooked up something good, I didn't have any internet, so I didn't get to look at anything. It was just me, pencil, piece of paper, writing the list. I think I got something good.
Okay. Money?
And yeah, I'm feeling pretty good. I just realized I might be missing a couple players, but overall, I hopefully Bob's missing a bit more than me. So I don't know. And
We'll see.
yeah, we'll see how it goes.
Indeed. It should be a tricky one. Before we do get into our list, though, I do think we should ask Bass a few, get to know you questions. Ask him a few questions. I know we have a few. I know, Bunny, you had actually asked him a question before the show began. You're like, I'll save it. So go ahead, throw it at him right now. You may as well.
Yeah, I had the simple question. I was curious, how'd you start getting into casting? What's your lore?
Honestly, real truth. Luck, a little bit of luck. I was one of the COVID casters, one of the guys who got forced home during COVID and just kind of started casting. I had already had a Twitch channel which was somewhat active. I've mentioned this a couple of times, but a lot of people seem to get surprised by this. I was a huge CS head. I used to stream CS:GO, like gambling and playing and all of that stuff, like at open cases, like all the websites, all that. Built a small audience from that of like 20 to 30 consistent viewers, and then kind of dropped the channel. Like I would say for 3 or 4 years. COVID hit. Forced back inside, had nothing to do, went, all right, let's start hosting some show matches for Rocket League. So I'd throw up credits in like the in-game tournament system, and it exploded like really quickly to going from like 20, 30 viewers to 30 to 40. And then all of a sudden I have to thank Sunless Khan for this more than anybody else. Sunless put out a video talking about the Indie Gaming League. I don't know if you guys remember that league. It shut down like a year ago. Yeah, so put out a video about Indie Gaming League and said, hey, we're looking for casters. I went, all right, cool, I'll sign up for it. And very quickly, the acceleration kind of went from there. I went from doing volunteer stuff to doing paid stuff for collegiate to bubble tournaments, and just, kind of went from there. The big break was OCE. Getting into OCE was what got me on the radar for RLCS. But yeah, just kind of luck. Again, really, it was just like right place, right time. COVID forced everybody inside. There were extra events to do, and kind of started taking them.
Well deserved. Good work out there. I'm proud of you, Bass. Good work.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Actually, speaking of that, I actually have a question kind of related to that, I guess. Kind of a niche question. What's been your favorite? Do you have a standout match that you have casted before that is just in your mind? It's just like, this is the best cast I've ever done.
Oh, okay. Best cast I ever done is definitely different than the standout match in my mind.
Oh,
Best
okay.
cast I think I've ever done would probably be one of the finals for APAC. We had like some of our like finishing of this split, and I really did feel like I was in form. That, and then CRL. I've had a couple of series that I was just so on. I remember the Columbia versus UNLV match that I did for CRL was probably one of the biggest sort of impacts that I've had, because a lot of that video got clipped up and then put onto the RLCS streams. That ad they did for CRL, that clip that I'm in is from that, so that one's huge for me. Most memorable match though was casting at Worlds. Being able to even cast one series, I did. It was version 1 versus the Orlando Pirates, or was it Orlando? Yeah. Versus the Pirates. I got to watch that matchup, and I got to cast it with Shogun. And although it was a 4-0 blowout and V1, clapped through, it was very cool to be able to just sit there and be like, hey, I got to do a cast at an RLCS LAN.
Yeah, that's sick.
Yes, that is awesome. It's cool to hear. I love the stories. Go ahead. You had something else?
Of them. I was just gonna say I have a million. Like, yeah, trust me, I can go on all day. If there's one thing Caster's good at, it's about talking.
Yeah,
that is true. Bop, you want to have him talk again? Ask you another. Throw it at him.
Of course. So I mean, like, one of the biggest reasons I've been watching like the APAC stream, honestly, just like to watch you, because like your style of like casting, I just really like it. And so like I wanted to ask, like, with you on the APAC streams now, like, how much have you learned about APAC, and like,
Oh,
these
dude.
players? Have you got to like talk to them? Like, do you have like a new appreciation for them now?
So, I will say part of like going into APAC, I was actually casting APAC and OCE before APAC got picked up by rlcs. The sort of behind the scenes, I haven't actually spoken about this too much. The behind the scenes of why I even got picked up for APAC in the first place is that I used to work with a team called Overlap Esports. They are the same guys who ran. You guys remember APL, like the APL Nationals that they did for like Asia
Yeah,
Pacific and all of that?
yeah.
Yeah. So the team behind that is who I worked with on their like monthlies, their weekly stuff like that. So when APAC got picked up as a region, I had some familiarity with it, but nothing like what it is now. You're 100% correct. 2 years later, I can tell you almost every team. I was part of the team that voted for MVPs, power rankings, all of that. Like, I really do care about APAC at this point, and I think I have probably some of the most insight to the region out of anybody. But I will say this much. By far, the most insightful caster on APAC is Gex. That homie knows the entire region like the back of his hand. He is such a wealth of knowledge when it comes to that region, and really does help a lot of us learn about it.
There you go.
Nice, nice. Okay, wait, so do you have like a favorite APAC player now?
That's hard. That's really hard because I feel like there's a couple of them that I want to shout out. Everybody loves Kevin because he's a weirdo, but he's also very good at the game. Like, he's ungodly good. Especially like in APAC, he has probably been one of the most up and coming players. But I'd say Misty. Misty was a cool one. He was he's originally born in, I want to say, either Thailand or Indonesia. Went to school in EU. Actually played in Uni Rocketeers and was on a really good team in Uni Rocketeers. Almost qualified for Worlds. And then went back to Asia, kind of took everything he learned from EU, and is now on arguably one of the top 4 teams in APAC. So he's such a cool story in my mind. I love players that can leave the region, come back, and then kind of take the wisdom that they've learned.
Okay.
Oh, that's awesome, man.
That's pretty sick.
It is. It is indeed.
Like I said,
Money.
plenty of anecdotes.
Indeed. Money, you know what else is sick? Our top 25 list, and I think we should jump into them unless anybody has any other questions for Bass. Does anybody else have one more they want to throw at him real quick?
Let me see. I got one more.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay.
Yeah. Is the 2v2 cast with Hoodie ever coming back? The tournaments, 2v2 tournaments? I missed those a lot. Those are fun.
I will say, Hootie did just put out an announcement today. I don't know where it was. He put out some tweet saying he's like, I'm working on some 2v2 tournaments coming up. He hasn't hit me up for these, but I do know Hootie, every time he's ran one of these tournaments, he has hit me up. It's usually myself, Fear, or Taco if he's got the availability. So if he's, look, Hootie, if you're watching this, if you're keen to run some 2s tournaments, I'm keen to run it back. Like, I'm around, man.
That would be sick.
I'd be excited to watch those. Yes, sir.
All right, and I got one more quick question. How'd you come up with your name? Bass from the past.
So A, I didn't make it myself, and B, it's also my name. So I actually got this name when I was like 13, like 12 or 13. My full name is Oliver Bass. So my last name is literally in my title. So Blast from the Past was just a thing already. And one of my friends was like, Bass from the Past. And as soon as he said that when I was a young child, I went, that's my name from now on, and it has been my tag for everything from Xbox to Steam to Twitter now. So, yeah, just kind of puns.
I like it. It's clean. It's clean. All right. Is that it? Money, you good? You good with your questions?
That's all I got.
All right, gentlemen. You ready to yap about some 25 top players? I think it's time.
I think it is time. I
can already see Bop has actually revealed his 25th question mark.
Yo, bro, please.
Wait, what?
Thank you. Yeah, your box so showed it.
Right there.
Oh, wait, what? It didn't do that on my screen. Wait,
funny,
what?
That's funny. All right.
Wait, to be fair though, I actually changed that, so it's actually not that anymore.
Wait,
no.
Oh goodness. Oh lord. All right. I think before we get into the top 25, actually, if we have any more or any honorable mentions, I think we should probably discuss them pretty quickly, and then we can get into the actual 25. I guess I'll just go first. I'll go first because I actually have 4. This is so hard. I feel like it's actually so hard because you have so many players that you really like can throw down around that 20 range. I feel like it's so interchangeable down there. But I threw in Nwippo just for this sole reason that he literally has not played in RLCS. So I don't know how you could really rank him. I mean, he's great, but we haven't seen him ever play. Atomic, I think, is great, but he really wasn't that great at Worlds, I thought.
Which
and
Atomic?
I expected him to be great. G1. Well, is he on G1 still?
Okay.
But yeah, G1 Atomic. And then I had realized, just for the respect, honestly, I almost put him at 25, but I couldn't sneak him in there. And then JNaps, I think he's very consistent, but I don't know if he's 25 there. Probably would have been my 20, 26, 27th though.
Okay. I like that. For me, my honorable mention, I kind of already leaked it. It's gonna be Chronic. I feel like at the beginning of the season, he was like a top 5 player in the world when Genji was popping off throughout the season, playing well. I feel like just in the recent months, we haven't seen as much from him, unfortunately. Like he was like that like top NA talent. Now I feel like he's still really good. Like I had him originally in my top 25, and then I just changed it out right now. But yeah, he's close. He's still really good, but I had to make him honorable mention, unfortunately.
Fair. I like that.
Yeah, so I guess we'll see who took his spot in the top 25 coming at 20.
Ooh.
For me, honorable mentions. This was a tough one.
Mm.
I've got CRO in my honorable mention.
That's I like that.
Mainly because I forgot to add him to my list. I'll be honest.
Okay, all right, okay.
Yeah, I also kind of forgot about complexity, not gonna lie.
Yeah, I would have had him in my list at some point, but also I've got Daniel, great player.
Honorable mention.
I think he had to do some more.
Oh,
he had to do.
okay.
They didn't make it to Worlds. They didn't make it to the major, and I also forgot to add him in my list as well. Bass, what do you got for honorable mention?
I've got 5 of them. My honorable mentions would be Nolly, Astromic, Mawson, SMW, and Archie. And I think for really all, I would say 4 out of the 5 of them would be, I think their individual skill is crazy, but they just don't know how to win, if that makes sense. For Astromic, for Mawson, for SMW, and Archie, you know, when they have good performances, they're crazy, but like, I'm very much a person who values winning over like everything, and they just couldn't quite do that. Mawson's a little bit of an exception, but you know, with his 2 teammates being as good as he is, it's hard to judge him. Nolly's just one of those players where I wanted to put him on my top 25, but I look at the rest of the players and go, I can't do that, even despite the winning ability. So
I have a question, Bass. Do you have anyone else from SMW's team on your list?
No, I don't think I have
Man,
anybody
really?
there.
Okay.
Look, they were good, but they're kind of petering off during the World Championship after what's it called, wild card. Kind of made it hard for me to put them anywhere on the top 25.
Fair enough. All right.
That's fair. I think those are good honorable mentions, honestly. Those are the stack list right there, but it's good picks.
Dude, I wish I could put all of them on.
Yeah, facts.
We just need like a top 50 list. That'd probably cover for the most part.
Oh god.
Bob
Be here
definitely
for
wouldn't have
about-
made it to that.
No,
Yeah,
definitely.
maybe not this time.
It would have been 2. All right. Should we?
Faster on the train.
Yeah,
Yep,
should
let's
we
hear it.
jump in? I think it's time. Money? Oh, goodness. He's revealed them.
Wait, oh.
Oh, my. Honestly,
Okay.
I don't mind any of these, to be honest. I think Drew is a tiny bit low for me, but other than that, I like them all.
I want to hear you defend Garrett G here.
Yeah, I want to
Garrett
hear
G,
about that.
I think Garrett had a very unfortunate situation on NRG.
For the past like 2 years?
Well, I mean, did you watch Garrett though? I mean, just the eye test tells you how good Garrett has been, especially as of recent. He had Squishy on his team. Squishy, honestly, I don't think is a top 70 player in the past probably 7-8 months.
Wait.
Bro, Squishy is so bad. People do not realize how bad Squishy was holding that team back. Justin at times he wasn't great either, but Garrett was always very, very consistent. I can think of one event where he might have played not up to par, but other than that, he was a very, very consistent player. And I do not know what's coming up for Garrett next year, but honestly, I could see him jump back into top 15.
You do realize you're talking about how he had some good results at the end of the year in NA. Like, he literally has not stood up against any international competition.
I mean, that's fair, but I mean, a lot of my team, I mean, did you watch Garrett throughout the last of this season?
Bro, he was great on...
he was not the reason they ever
the
lost.
tournament
He was
played
never
with SR?
the reason.
Oh yeah, he beat
Shopify?
BDS. To be fair, he did beat BDS, I think.
Garrett has been
with
very
Shopify,
good.
yeah.
Garrett has been very good. Honestly, I'm curious how you can say Chicago. You must have JNaps and Atomic on this list, right?
I don't have JNaps on this. I will say JNaps is not in my top 25.
Wait, how do you justify Chicago over JNaps?
Because I think JNaps had a lackluster world championship. I think that he was mechanically sound, but I don't think he actually did a lot to impact his team. I think Chicago continues to be the king of the dish. Homie will facilitate Atomic and JNaps no matter the circumstance. And as much as I don't think that JNaps is bad, I would rather put a Chicago on my top 25 than JNaps.
Okay, I can respect that. So you're evaluating the World Championship the most out of everything, because I'd say that JNaps was the best in every regional.
I mean, Yeah, I'm looking at this very much like how you finish the year. I think consistency throughout the year is huge, but it kind of goes to show that it's like, again, I'm very much winning over everything else. Your ability to finish off the year on a high is a lot more important than your ability to do well throughout the years. Like, nobody remembers a team in the NBA who gets on a good 20-game winning streak if they don't actually make playoffs. It means nothing.
That is true.
Like,
that is true.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
Understandable. I don't have anything else. I think Drew's a little low still, but I don't know. I think that's fine.
Fair. I feel like Garrett, I love Garrett. It's just like that's kind of crazy right now because we haven't seen him on land in a while. Like it's just like I think like team results matter. I think at least a bit, and like he is individually still very skilled and I think very consistent. But like when the team is not really performing, I feel like it's tough to put someone on this list.
I don't know though. You watch the eye test, and I think the eye test tells you enough for Garrett. Like he was clearly their best player the last time they played.
I think Garrett can be on this list. The question is, based on his results, does he deserve to be on this list?
Fair,
like he's got the abilities, but it's like,
wait, I'm actually curious. I'm actually curious. So would you guys put like J-Naps above Garrett?
Yeah.
I assume, yeah. Okay, that's fair enough then. Understandable. Let's go to 24.
Alone, yes.
Yeah,
let's get it.
Okay, I like Hoxer as well. Not a bad.
Yeah, Hoxer, good.
Hoxer, I think.
Yeah, facts. Yeah, I think Hoxer's very solid here.
Okay, we got a Nwippo. And AJ.
Yep.
Oh my. And Clears. Oh my.
Sure.
Itachi? That's crazy. I feel like what?
Crazy. Wait, higher or low?
Wait, yeah, that
like,
seems low to me.
I think you should be way higher.
I don't know, man. See now, Bass was just talking about how you end the year, and I feel like Itachi's been slowly getting worse. So that's honestly
he had a good world.
that's my example there for him. I don't really have much else to say about him. I just feel like he's gotten
still
worse.
top 4 of Worlds. I feel like it's hard to take him outside
did.
your top 20 if he makes top 4. Like that's you're putting a lot of weight on what's it called, on Exotic and Vatira in that case, saying that they're basically the hard carries for that team.
No, because I actually don't have Exotic on the list. I hate Exotic. I do not rate Exotic at all.
Wait, so it's Vatira carry against the Vatira 1v7, bro.
It is indeed.
What? No way.
Okay, no. Okay, no. Somebody tell me how Clears is 24 on this list. This just tells you do not watch meta. There is no way Clears is 24 here.
Clears is 24 because he had one technical good event all year.
Nah, that is crazy.
Well.
He's been the consistently best threes player on that team.
I
easily
disagree with that too.
Well, then I don't know what you're looking at.
Realistically, in my mind, Roas is the GOAT. I love that man. I think he's incredibly talented. And my big issue with Clears is that, like, while he did have a good world championship, again, their biggest performance by far was them at the Spring Major. Outside of that, I mean, you look at their results for the world championship.
Spring Major, I wish Clears was like a top 5 player.
Yeah, I would say Clears was
right.
But this isn't. We're not rating it
and
based
online
on the
as
Spring
well,
Major.
though. I know overall, right?
Online is cool, but until you show it against international competition, it doesn't really mean much to me. There's a reason why, like, you popped up AJ on your list, and I went, oh, that would have been a good shout, but I didn't even think of AJ because he's played in one international event this year, and to be honest, they didn't look good.
Wait, you don't have AJ on the list either? Oh, God.
Bro, I forgot AJ. I think I would have had him higher. I would have
put AJ higher on here had I remembered that he was, that he was around, but Clears being 24 for me is not because I think that Clears is bad. It's more just like I look at the other competition around him and go, yeah, individually solid, but I think Roas is still the more impressive player on that team.
I completely disagree. I think Clears is way more impressive, especially talking threes. I think he's way better.
Yeah, I think you guys are valuing different things. Because right now, I'm agreeing more with Jagentek. I like how Clears plays on his team. He's like, the way that he sets up his teammates for greatness, the way his offense abilities. So, Bass, what are you looking for in Roas to justify like having him?
Defensive ability, he's the clutchest player on that team. There are so many instances where you see Mawson and Clears dive on offense. It is basically a 1v2, 1v3 the other way, and Roas does not let a damn thing go by. I genuinely think that if Roas isn't on that team, we barely hear about one because their defense is so open that every team just takes advantage on counterattacks.
Damn.
Okay.
Honestly, I agree with that.
That's fair. Yeah, I can. That's fair enough. Money. Now I'm curious. How do you justify Nwippo on the list? Actually, I'm curious. Maybe do we have any spoilers here? Does anyone have Nwippo on the list other than Money here?
No, Nupo's not on mine.
Okay.
I might. I will see.
Oh my God.
Bob's got him like top 5. He's got him like top 5.
Let's go. That's good. That's good stuff from Bob.
Okay. Wait, Money. I'm curious though.
Honestly,
how do you justify it?
Well, a little bit of recency bias, I'll be honest, a little bit of recency bias from Gamers 8, but I was actually really surprised like how good this guy was. Like I actually had him higher and then I slowly brought him down a bit because he hasn't done it at RLCS. Okay. Yeah. But I don't know, I was just really impressed by his speed, like the placement of his shots, like just I don't know, I was very impressed by his gameplay.
I think it's no doubt that he'll be on this list next year, but just not having him play in RLCS yet is just enough to not put him on the list. I feel
that's fair.
I feel like that's just enough to.
I think
to
this
just
is
say it.
it's a similar argument we have to Garrett being on your list
Yeah.
at 25.
Yeah,
is that it's
kind
like
of.
Nubo, we know he's good, we know Garrett's
Yeah,
good, but it's
yeah.
like neither one of them has shown enough this year
That
where I
is
can look
true.
at him and go, yeah, top 25.
I think they're
That's
all
fair,
low
that's
enough
fair.
though that it's fine, honestly. All right, what do we got here? Honestly, I don't mind this row at all from anyone. I think it's all
Okay.
fine.
I'm surprised AJG got snuck into here on somebody's top 25. I still feel like he had such a lackluster back half of the year. I could not justify putting him on.
See, I was thinking the same with
Wait,
the Chronic.
back half?
I was thinking a Chronic was like my honorable mention area.
Mm.
I
Yeah,
don't know
that's
if
fair.
23 I can
Okay.
justify. Kind of the same as AJG, actually. I like Exotic, fair
Same.
enough. I'm going to be honest, I kind of forgot Exotic, but hey, you know, it's not on the list.
Clearly you did. You put Itachi at 24th. Like,
I still would have had Itachi over Exotic, though, even if he was on the list, so.
I like seeing Drufo posted here twice. I'm glad that we've got at least 2 lists with Drufinho on it. Money, I'll be interested to see if he pops up on yours. If he does not, we're going to have some questions.
Yeah. I think Drew was really good, man. I think he was definitively the best player in Sam. At least at the end of the season, so. Yeah, definitely. Honestly, I almost put him higher, but then I moved him down a teeny bit.
I looked at his Octane stats for the World Championship. I think he was 3rd overall. Top 4
Oh,
players, I
yeah.
believe, were LJ, Atomic, and Drufinho, if
He
I'm
was
not
a
mistaken. Yeah,
Yeah,
dude
it
was
was crazy.
disgusting, straight up.
I don't think we have anything else
Yeah.
on this one. Does anyone else have any disagreements? I like this list, or this line, honestly.
Yeah, I have
So-
no issue.
Yeah, a Chronic.
sad.
I mean, yeah, for me, I just feel like Liquid is just like such a consistent team. Like they're always consistently performing in EU regionals at lands. They're always like, top 4, top 8. I just feel like all 3 players are so good that like I had to put them all on this list. So
Okay.
I had to put a Chronic right here.
That's fair. I feel like it's not a hot take to say, though, that a Chronic's like definitely the weakest player on that team.
Oh, yeah.
So,
Probably,
I don't think
yeah.
I was
it's,
just
like,
I
surprised.
just
to
think
see
bad.
it.
recently he's
Yeah,
been
no,
good
he's not-
though.
he's
I
not
think
bad,
recently he's been a lot
definitely.
better.
Yeah, he's been solid.
It's one of those things where it's like you give all of them almost a 10 out of 10, but you'd put a Chronic closer to like a 9 out of 10 just because
Yeah.
it's like he's not
Yeah.
bad, but he's just not quite Oski or Tao.
Mhm. Definitely.
Yeah, exactly.
All right. Okay. Honestly, Ray's both a little low on this one for me. Same with Daniel, but I don't mind this either.
I'm okay with all of these. I forgot about putting Yan on my list.
I think,
honestly.
bro, I
also
think
forgot
I
Ian.
figured a lot of you guys would forget him, but man, I think
I
he needs
forgot
the
so
shout.
many
He
players,
definitely
bro.
needs this shout. I think he's
I
so
think he
good
needs-
still, and honestly, I don't know. I think he's he's still a monster. I don't know. I almost
He
replaced him with
individually is,
Lost,
like-
but like I don't know. It's
Well,
so
see, that's
tricky,
my issue.
bro. Yeah.
Like, if you're gonna put Fury on this list, at what point do you also start assigning blame to somebody like Yan? Like, bro,
Yeah,
Fury
yeah.
was supposed to be crazy
It's
good,
hard.
came in, weren't great. They got a new player and still weren't great.
Yeah.
So at a certain point, I look at Yan
Yeah.
and go, "Is it enough?" Like,
Yeah, I'd agree.
That's fair. That's fair. Yeah, I forgot to put him on the list. Although I will say, like at the major, I think he was like by far their best player.
Yeah.
I felt
think so.
like
Yeah.
Lost and Card just weren't really showing up, and Jan was still like playing well. Online though, I think Lost was like
Yeah.
playing like
That's
probably
why,
the best player on
man,
the
I
team.
struggle with
Yeah.
that one because of
But-
that, but I factored that in a little bit more.
Yeah,
I think he deserves to
online,
be
yeah,
on here,
Lost.
though. I think
Yeah.
he's that good. He's got to be on the list.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
that's
can
fair.
feel that.
That's fair.
I also think Razebull and Daniel are low, but I think you guys factor in different things than me rating them. Because like I take
Yeah.
into account like Gamers 8 a little bit with Daniel's performance, but I know you guys don't care about Gamers 8 as much as I. So
I wish I'd put Daniel on my list. I was gonna put him and B mode on here, but I literally couldn't. 'Cause I was
Wait,
just
no
like, you
beast
guys-
mode?
No B mode.
wait, what?
Beast mode would go on here if he
Wait.
actually had any results this year. The only thing he's done is win a
Wait.
regional. Outside of that, you got to realize that he's been so inconsistent at the end of the year.
Wait.
Oh man. I mean,
No
you say he's
beast
won a
mode?
regional though, like bro.
He won. Yeah, look. It's the same argument I would give to Yan. Hey, crazy events. What's your biggest win this year? Oh, you won a regional?
I mean,
Okay.
beast mode though, like he's just I don't know, he's just a better
I think
player.
individually he's incredibly skilled, and I could see him hitting my top 25 easily next year. But I look at it this year, and I realistically go, all right, you didn't make Worlds. You bottomed out in your final regional of the year. Outside, and again, this is the other stat I brought up, is that you look at Gamers 8. If I look at Gamers 8
The
overall,
threes.
hell yeah, he
Yeah.
hits this.
Yeah.
Threes. Version 1 lost 60% of their threes
Yeah.
games. They did not win their threes games.
See, to me, I'm the exact opposite with you on Gamers 8. Because Gamers 8, I thought he looked so good in every other mode that it was just like, yeah, you got to put him on here. Like, he's just
That's
that
fair.
good. Like, he's just
No, I
that
think
good.
I get that, yeah.
Throw him on. Honestly, I think
Yeah,
so
he
far
must be.
Money
I
has
think he's
the
back.
yeah. So far, I think Money has the least offensive list, by the way, out of anyone. He's just kind of floating
Yeah,
through.
but that's only because I'm missing people, though. That's only because I'm missing.
Yeah.
I'm missing some people. So as we get
Yeah.
to the end, we'll see.
Wow. Yeah, all
But
of our lists
honestly,
are gonna be crazy different, I
Yeah.
think.
I
Very
think
Yeah,
so too.
facts. They're already super different.
Because it's
I
like
think that
a lot
like
more meat on here
even
than
in
times
threes though,
past.
Beast Mode was solid. I
Yeah,
think Beast Mode
I
was
thought
very
so.
solid in threes.
I don't think he wasn't solid. I just don't think he. I don't think one event
Wait.
like that kind of undoes their last 2 months of play.
That's
if that
fair.
Makes sense.
Yeah, that's fair.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting. Now
I know it's interesting, too.
TRK here actually stands out, I think, on this row. I think TRK is criminally low.
Honestly, I agree with that, except
Bro,
I do have the recency bias. I wasn't super impressed with him at Gamers 8 and
Really?
Wait, so now you're rating Gamers 8 over Worlds? Because I thought at Worlds he was easily their best player. I thought
honestly,
TRK was just ascending
I
throughout
agree.
the ranks.
No, I agree. I think he was also the best player at Worlds.
Would you put him like for Gamers 8? Would you say he was the worst player out of the 3 of them? Because I feel like that's a bold take.
I don't think he was.
The worst of the 3 at Gamers 8, I don't think I could say that. But
I feel like it's Ahmad in my mind.
I
Not that he
totally
played
Yeah.
bad,
I also agree
I
with
might have to
that.
say
That's why I got Ahmad at 21. There you go. Bass just described exactly why he's at
Nice,
21. There you go.
nice.
Well,
Simple enough.
Nice
Thank
segue.
you. Again,
but
I don't
Boxer
mind.
is low, yeah.
Hoxer is low, you think? I don't know if that's that
I mean,
low, to
I
be
put him
honest.
there, and I struggled with this a lot. I think Hawkser kind of deserved more, but I think the big issue I had with Hawkser is that we had 1 month of him doing well.
Mhm.
The rest of the year for him was kind of mess. So it's like, look, there's a
Yeah.
recency bias world where Hawkser goes in my top 10, but I
Yeah.
just couldn't bring myself to do that.
Yeah. I think that's
That's
well,
fair,
I don't
that's
have
fair.
him on my list, I don't think, just because of that.
Yeah, I don't
Wait,
either, unfortunately.
Yeah. I mean, we hadn't seen enough. Like, if we see him keep doing it, I mean, yeah, 100% he's up there. But just a month, I can't justify that. Like, Ahmad, we've been seeing him play well the entire season. Drew, same thing. Itachi, same thing. Garrett, I kind of say same thing, honestly, but...
No. No. No.
No, wait, no.
I think Hawkser
Garrett
he's
was
done
not
too
consistent
much
throughout
for
the
his
year.
team.
What do you
so-
want?
What do you mean? Yes, he definitely was. Did you see Squishy? What are you talking about? Bro, it's all Squishy. It's actually all Squishy. That's all I have to say,
Dude,
honestly.
we can't
Everybody
just
knows
blame
it's true.
Squishy, bro.
Bro,
No,
you
we
literally have
can't
to.
just
You literally
blame
have to.
Squishy, man.
It's all
Yeah,
Squishy.
it's
This
the
guy...
It's
energy
not just
fanboy
no.
in
It's the
every chat.
team. It's the chem, bro. It's the chem or something.
Nah.
Cause like,
Alright.
like even when Squishy looked good, like they still weren't winning though. So what was going on then?
Wait, they were winning, though. That's when they got the top 4.
They only did that twice this year.
I know, but that's when Squishy was playing well. That's my whole point.
Nah.
But either way, it doesn't really matter. Let's go to 20.
Squishy, energy bad, Squishy bad. Energy good, Squishy good.
Honestly, yeah. Is that simple?
Interesting.
All right, let's see this. Wait, what's up with Bass?
Bro, Bass, what is happening?
Yeah, I don't know what's going
No,
on
bro,
with
this-
mine.
Okay. There you go. Honestly, I don't
Huh.
mind any of this.
SMW was a good shout. I kind of forgot to put him on my list. That was a good shout, though. I like him right there, top 20.
Yeah, I almost
I
moved
like
him
that.
down a little, but I thought, man, he closed the season off so well. This guy was just a demon.
Okay, I have to ask. Atomic at 20 is a wild call. That is very low for him in my mind.
You think so?
Yeah,
I just feel like... Yeah, I mean, I just felt like at some points, like, I kind of value what JNAPs in Chicago do a lot for the team. Like, I feel like Atomic hasn't hard carried as much in certain moments. Like, first, like, if you think back to, like, which major did they win? They won the Winter Major last year. Like, Atomic was insane at that major, right? I feel like we haven't seen that level of Atomic in, like, a really long time. And I feel like JNAPs in Chicago do a lot for G2. And, like, they also just didn't have an amazing season overall. He's still really good individually. Like, he could probably be higher on my list. But, yeah, that's why I have him here at 20.
I will say I have Atomic much higher on my list.
I
and
think I do too.
I have a feeling I'm going to have to defend that pretty vehemently if this is what the,
Okay.
the vibes of Atomic are right now. Like,
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. I have some players that are going to be a lot higher than what you guys have. So
Yeah, I
that's
think
fair.
I do as well. Specifically Clears. I
that's-
think you guys are underrating Clears. I'm not gonna lie.
Nah. I saw the greatness from Kaliers, but I also saw when it wasn't working for the boys.
yep.
And
I don't know. Though.
I
I feel
couldn't
like
put
he's
him too
been
much higher.
he's been the one that's been the most consistent on that team. Roas, he's struggled sometimes.
What event did Rawash struggle in?
What? He started off very, very slow in spring. 100% he was slow in spring at the beginning, but then he got into
In
it.
regionals?
No.
Or are you saying
in
at the major?
In the major, he started off very
Homie,
slow.
he was nominated for defensive MVP. What do you mean?
I mean, yeah, but he
Like,
started off slow. Did you watch the game? I mean, Kalirs was easily the best player at that major for them.
whoa, that's a bold call. That's
I
bold.
don't
I
think
do
that's
agree
bold
with
at all.
that.
No, I don't think
I
that's
I think
do
you guys are
agree.
just valuing different things though.
Not really, though. I
Because
feel
even,
like this
like,
one's pretty easily, though. I don't know. If you're talking threes, which clearly Bass is, Kalirs is the better player.
Because Kalirs is so important to the offense, but then Verwas is like
He is, yeah,
more
no,
important to
definitely.
the defense than Kalirs is to the offense, in my
Agreed.
opinion.
Yeah.
So I think that's the problem.
See, I'm taking offense, though. This is an offensive league now.
I don't know about that one.
Interesting.
That's like the first thing I've ever agreed with Johnny Boy on, too. Johnny Boy, oh, God. All right, let's
I
see
think
19.
yeah. I'll say like for the reason why I value Kalirs over Rawaz is I feel like Kalirs is a better defensive player than Rawaz is an offensive player. So that's why I value
agree.
Kalirs
Yeah,
a
I
little
agree
bit
with
more.
that. I can
say
agree with
that
that.
as well.
More well-rounded in your mind.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, two
Ooh.
Huskies. And you
There
got
we
TR.
go.
Guys,
Very
finally people syncing up. It's me and Bob.
I like that.
Yeah, this honestly,
Yeah,
I,
Husky higher.
I think this is a completely fine list. I like
Appjack
that.
is low in my mind.
Low,
Appjack is
really?
very low in my
I feel
mind.
like he's played a lot worse towards the end of the season.
I think that Appjack in my mind is the only reason that Gen G didn't look like absolute.
I
like,
would
just
agree. Okay,
crap at the
I
end
would
of the
agree
year,
with that.
Which
I would agree with
Which
that.
I mean, look, they definitely did get clapped down in their final event of the year, but there's something to be said about Gen G being able to beat both Twisted Minds and G2 to get to the top 8, even with Nolly and Chronic arguably playing poorly.
That's fair. Yeah, honestly, yeah. To be honest, yeah, I have nothing else to say about that. I kind of do agree
That's
with
fair.
you now that you say that. That is facts.
I think it's a lot of people are stained with the way that they went out. Them going out 4-0 to KC and basically literally just like not even
Yeah,
putting
it's
in,
kind of
like,
that's
a
just
single
what's in my
punch.
mind. Yeah.
Dude, it sits hard. It sits so rough. It's just like you go into that series, all of NA is like, yeah, come on, Gen G, and then 4-1 game 1.
Yeah. You know, honestly, now that I'm thinking about it, I said this was a not offensive row, but honestly, I agree with Bass, actually, now that you said it. Oski, I feel like he's low. He is low. Now that I'm thinking, bro, I was like, where do I have Oski?
but-
And then I was like, wait a minute.
But why is he low though for you?
Wait,
That's the
wait.
question.
Okay, so the real question is, do you guys rate Oski over Attil?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No.
Not for me.
Well,
no.
Okay, so
not
well,
recently.
Really?
I think that's the change. Me and Bass rate the opposite of you guys. That's probably it, honestly.
I think Oski was just literally in terms of individual players that you just couldn't shut down. Oski was such a problem for every
He was so
team that they
consistent
faced.
as well. Like you
He was
always
just, like-
knew he was just gonna play decent enough. Like he was always there. He's that staple on the team. Attil might have
just,
higher
like-
peak, but he's just
Yeah,
not.
I'd agree with that. Like, I think that like the big thing with Oski is that it was like again, it's that well-rounded argument we're having where it's like I think
Yeah.
all around he is an incredible player. Now,
Yeah.
granted, I disagree with saying that that Roas isn't well-rounded, but I do think this is a good example of like
Yeah,
a player that
fair.
you would look at well-rounded and be like, there's no inconsistencies.
I like that. Yeah.
Okay. That's fair. I understand that. I understand that. I do think like yeah, for me I value kind of like the peak that like a Tao can reach and like the offensive ability that sometimes that he like has. And Oski, like honestly, they're not like super different players, but like
Yeah.
I just value a Tao a little bit more.
Yeah, and I think Attao puts like Oski in like situations for greatness so often. Like Oski's been like super what's the word? I can't think of the word. But in a lot of possessions, like Oski, he gets the 100 boost. He's in net, he makes the save, and then he starts the offense, and the Tao's already demoing someone, something's already happening upfield, just to give like Oski a lot more space. And I think Oski's been one of the most consistent players on the team, but I think Atao's role really helps him shine.
Interesting.
Okay.
I don't necessarily agree with that, but we can move on that one. That's fair enough.
Dude, even in the double flip reset play, who's getting the demo? Who's getting the bumps,
Yeah,
bro?
that is true. That is
The
a fair
first
enough
double
point.
flip reset on LAN.
Don't remind me. I got PTSD.
Was it against was it against complexity? Yo.
Nightmares. All right, let's see 18 here. What do we got?
Rise!
Ooh, yeah, Rise. Okay, hold on a minute. I think Rise is insane. I think that
I
is
got
nuts.
Rise down here.
Alright, buddy, you're in the hot seat.
All right,
You gotta
let's
defend
hear.
that.
Let's hear. Hold on a minute.
Oh gosh.
See, okay. So this is what I gotta say, right? Rise, not a bad player, right? Not a bad player. But the thing was, at Worlds, I wasn't that impressed by him. I felt like Monkey Moon and Psycho were the two clear best players on that team. And Rise was good. He was filling in the gaps, kind of like that glue kind of role, you know? But I feel like individually, he just didn't really have to do that much. So it's like, I don't rate him as high as some of the other players on here that I think individually are just more talented. I feel like, yeah, Rise at his peak, like, is insane, could be best player in the world. But I feel like, again, kind of like I talked about, who did I talk about with? Was it like, it was someone. I just felt like it was Atomic. Yeah, yeah. Recently, I just feel like I haven't seen as much out of him individually. Although as a team player, like, he is probably still like top 10. But like just individual talent wise, 3v3, I would still kind of put him a little bit down here.
Wait. So I have a question. Do you have Seiko over Ryzen?
Yes. Yes.
Really? I think that's a little
Bob
wild.
has the most peak list ever. This is like every player on here, you have to look at it, and at their peak, where do they rank?
Yeah, no, that is true. That is
like
true.
what my list is. That actually is very true. I'm not gonna lie, that is what most of my list is like.
That's funny.
Dude, I think the only thing that defended you there was that you said how like he's not like always the best like individually. I think that's the only thing that defended you here, because like speaking of like the whole year all around, every team that Rise has been on, they've gotten better.
Yeah.
He just goes into any team, they just get better.
I think that's kind of like the point, though, is that like Rise is never supposed to be the star of the show. He is
Yeah.
never on a team the guy that is hitting flip resets, constantly scoring, constantly. He is, again, he's, in my opinion, the best glue player on the planet. There is
Rise
not
is
another
like
person who
Rise
can
is
glue
like
he
that
does.
juiced up.
Yeah.
It's like Redocin if he was on steroids almost. That's like a comparison. Like that's literally what it is.
It's a good
Okay.
comparison.
Like I don't know how else to describe it. Like he's that good. I feel like genuinely you could put Rise on almost any team. Last year for their probable quote unquote worst player, and he still makes that team better. As long as the chemistry works. at
probably.
least. So I don't know. I think 18's a little wild. Honestly, I could defend my Atomic as well. I don't know if it's needed. He might be a tiny bit low, but I don't know. I kind of have the same defense as Bop did on it. Like
I
was
get
good.
like I get why Atomic would be this low. I think I'm just looking at him, and I think it's kind of actually the flip of what I've reversed a lot of people. I think Atomic at his peak is so good that even his floor is solid enough that he hits a high level for me.
Yeah, that is fair enough. That is fair enough. I don't mind any other pick. I like the Drew respect. I like Raise Bull.
You guys are gonna be mad who I have above Rise, but
Oh god,
no.
wait, who's it gonna be?
Like in
Oh,
general or right now?
I'm scared. I'm scared.
I don't even know what my next pick is, but we'll see.
No.
I don't even
Here we go. Here we go.
Whoa. Wait a
Here we
minute.
go. That's why I
Okay,
like
wait.
A whole year of greatness
How?
versus a gamers.
How?
A whole year of greatness.
I just, yeah, I don't. First of all, I don't know how to even pronounce his name still. I don't know if it's Nepo, Nupo, and like I don't even know. But
Apparently,
whatever.
like, it's actually
No.
I think it's not
Is it
Nupo,
like-
but Nepo is like the actual pronunciation, but
Nepo?
it's Nupo or Nuepo is both like apparently correct as well.
Okay, yeah. So Nepo, I feel like again, it's kind of like what Bass said. Nepo's peak, in my opinion, is like a top 5 player in the world right now, maybe top 3 player in the world. I feel like him individually, like how talented he is, it's gonna be like basically Mina Zen. Like I feel like he is gonna elevate Falcons so much this upcoming season. What he's gonna do for this team is gonna be like something we've never seen before. Like basically only seen it with like Zen, basically. I feel like it's kind of like a hopeful kind of pick, kind of like trying to like pull a T-Bates right now with like Alpha. But like I just feel like what he's gonna do for Falcons is gonna be like absolute insanity. Like Khaled wasn't even like that bad. Like he actually had a pretty good Worlds. But Nepo, I feel like gonna elevate this roster so much, it's gonna just be like night and day. Like they're gonna be clear number 1 possibly.
See, now I
Even
feel
with
like
Rule 1.
that's like fair enough defense, but like at the same time, you like still haven't seen him play. So like, how can you put him there?
I mean, we saw him play last season, so not this past season, but the season before that, and he was incredibly good, probably best player in MENA during like the end of the season there. And then Gamers 8, of course, like it's weird with Gamers 8 with ones, twos, threes, everything, but like I thought he played really well individually, like very talented. Like just I was impressed by him the whole time.
I mean, I guess.
I would argue this, but I'm gonna be honest. I kind of get Bop putting him here.
No, yeah,
I
like it
can't
makes
really,
sense,
like,
but it's like,
Yeah,
how do
it's
you...
like a hopeful pick. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's one where it's crazy, but you're not gonna question it because it does have like the reasoning behind
Yeah.
it makes sense. Like it's solid enough.
Like we all know he's gonna be good. It's just more so we just haven't seen him be good yet. It's kind of
Yeah, I'm still putting Rise just above him though.
I put
Rise
honestly I
under
put a
him.
lot of those
That's
players
fair.
above him for now, but
I
That's
don't
fair.
think there's gonna be many people who go above Rise for me. Like this is.
Thanks.
He's got him at like top 3.
Yeah, top
Maybe,
3
you never
Rise
know.
incoming.
It could sit.
Well, actually, wait. Let's talk about this Chronic pick because I feel like Chronic is a bit high, unless it's like
Mm.
I don't know. Wait, yeah, go ahead, Bess.
I mean, I don't really have much to defend for Chronic. I think the big issue with me is that, like, I think Chronic is one of those players where a lot of people look at the results of Gen G and go, wow, they really didn't do great. But I think the issue with Gen G is that, like, they never did poorly. They just weren't the same team as they were at the beginning. I think a lot of people kind of
Yeah.
have this
Yeah.
idea that it's about perspective. And when you look at Gen G, the definitive #1 team on the planet, anything else underneath that is a failure in most people's minds. So for me, I think Chronic, even with, like, you know, not the best performance overall throughout the entire year, still finished on top. Top 8 placement overall. I feel like if you're making top 8 at Worlds, you have to be given at least somewhat of a shout. And again, I think Appjack was definitely the hard carry there, but I still believe that Chronic is, like, a consistent enough player. In my mind, Chronic is probably one of, if not the best player in North America. Like, Kid has been killer throughout the year.
Interesting.
Well,
I don't
Okay.
agree
Yeah,
with
that's
it,
fair.
but I respect it. I respect the defense. I can't say much about it because you know it's
I
kind
like
of facts.
that.
He's kind of spitting.
I like
All right, what do we got here? Honestly, I think this is a great row.
it. Okay.
Appjack's a little low in my mind, but I don't hate it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Bass
Yeah.
is a big Gen G backer. He likes the boys.
I just think, again, consistency over everything else. I mean, like, the worst result they had this year was, like, 9th to 12th out of LAN.
Yeah.
It's pretty hard for me to look at them and be like, like, I don't know. Their wins over Twisted Minds and G2 sit a lot harder than their loss to Carmine, but I get people who look at their Carmine loss and go, damn, y'all tainted the entire year, huh? I get that. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I think it's just the way they ended the ended the season. It's like, I mean, you're right about the results. Like, you're right. Like, they're not bad just looking at it, but like just watching their gameplay, something seemed off. So I back Bop there.
Yeah. That's fair. I mean, Appjack for me was still my MVP of NA this season. I feel like he got a little bit robbed, but like, yeah, it just like the same thing you guys said. Kind of how they ended it. It's unfortunate.
Yeah, that's fair. I don't mind any of these others. I do think Money having a toe and Oski so low is kind of crazy. I feel like one of those deserves to be a little higher, but
Yeah, I kind of
Yeah.
just like averaged it out. I don't know. Like, I had
toe Oski.
forgot
I guess
who
you have
had
all
higher.
three
I kept
though
moving them
around there,
down.
so the
Yeah.
average kind of makes sense, I guess, since you do have all 3 around there.
I feel like
It's
that is
like-
just such a good example of Liquid as its entirety.
Yeah.
None of the
It
players are
is.
like to the point where you look at them and go,
True.
top 10 player on the planet. None of the players you look at and go, this
Yeah.
guy's bad. It's just they're all so good that they just have to always be mentioned at least in big lists. Like,
Yeah.
have to.
Yeah.
Facts.
Yeah. Although I might have one of them top 10. We'll
Yeah, I
see.
might as well.
But I get that. Like,
Yeah.
that makes sense. I don't
They are
argue that.
good
Like, that,
enough.
I
Yeah.
understand.
All right, let's see. I don't think we have anything else on that one yet. Let's see this one. Oh wow, let's go, Bop.
Oh, they're
okay,
stacking
nice.
up.
Wait, Bop, high five, high five. Let's see if we can do
Nice.
this.
Okay.
On your
Wait,
left.
Wait,
No,
which
no.
way do I look?
Yeah, that
Wait,
way,
this
that way, that way. Yeah. 1, 2,
Yeah.
3, bang. Look at
Wait.
us. Good
Did I
work.
do that?
Yeah, it was good enough.
Okay, good enough. Good enough.
Good enough. We got it. This one, yeah, I don't really mind this one either. Actually, I like this. I think CRR. I don't honestly, as the biggest complexity fan, I still don't have CRR that high, but you know I like it, so I'm not complaining. I'm not complaining.
I love CRR. I think the kids. I still stand by stating that he was the best player on Complexity all year long, and I think my big issue is that it's like, again, Complexity definitely I would say petered off as the year went on. They went from like killers to just like somewhat vulnerable, and they didn't play bad, but it just like very clearly they weren't the same Complexity as they used to be. I just kind of rate CRR as the best player on that team. I think consistently
fair.
he is the best player on that team.
Fair enough.
Yeah, I do as well. I
I
think I rate
don't.
him as the best as well.
I don't.
I kind of forgot
Rage Bull is
complexity.
better?
Yeah, I do think Rage Bull is better, but mostly, well, you'll see where he is on the list. But mostly due to the fact, that I think when Rage Bull is on, that makes Complexity the best Complexity they can be. When CRR is playing the best he can, I don't think Complexity's ceiling is as high as when Rage Bull is the best player on that team. If
See,
that
I
makes
think
sense.
the reason for that though is inconsistency. In my mind, the difference between CRR at his peak is like this much difference from his like floor. Like he's got.
I don't
barely
know
any
though.
difference.
Did you
Raze
see
Bull at
him?
his peak, maybe a little bit higher. Raze Bull at his floor is literally making the team like bottom out 9th to 12th. Like,
I don't
he
know
is-
if I agree with that. CRR kind of threw some games, and what was it? Spring, he did not look good, man.
No,
In fact, that
I
was why they
disagree
kind of
with that.
regressed. Really, I don't. I think that is.
No, that was after AJG. I don't think we can blame a lot of it on CRR.
No, I'm not talking about the major. I'm talking about before. I'm talking about the region.
No, again, I still stand by stating AJG was by far the least impressive player on that team.
Really?
I don't think at any
Interesting,
point I look
okay.
at CRR and think he was the worst.
That's fair. That's fair. All right. Yeah, I mean, Ruas, I don't feel like we need to defend Ruas, honestly. I think that's a good spot for him.
Yeah, I think that's solid. That's alright.
An exotic,
like
I said, I forgot him, but yeah.
Yeah, I think 15 is a solid spot for exotic. I could see him a bit higher. I could see him a bit lower. But
Yeah. I think he's got to at least be on the list in top 25 somewhere.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
He's had good impact for his team.
Okay, what do we got here? Ooh.
First
Ooh.
killer.
Wait,
LA.
wait, LJ as well. I feel like it's a little low as
Whoa,
well.
LJ's low for me. That's
Yeah. Nah, you can't say LJ's low though, but then I'm first killer there.
Yeah,
I feel like that's a little insane.
First killer for me is basically one of these things where I look at him and go, all right, you are the definitive best player in North America. You also can't win
That is
at
true.
all.
That is true.
Like, he just, like, it would be one thing if first killer, like, look, if you're supposed to be the definitive best player on the planet, you're supposed to be Appjack. You're supposed to be able to, even when your team is off, carry them to a top 8.
That is true.
Carry them to a top 10. You get them into a good position. First killer had one player on his team not being at peak and Sipical having an off, an off-world championship, and the team didn't even win a series. Like, not a single series. So it's one of these things where I look at them and I want to give every benefit of the doubt in the world to FaZe Clan and be like, you know, okay, there had to be reasoning. But, dude, they look so bad, even with first killer arguably being the best player on that pitch.
Yeah.
Like, if he can't carry a team like that, I don't think he deserves to be top 10.
Yo, honestly, with that defense, I kind of agree. The one thing, the one thing I will say, which actually kind of backs your point, is we've seen first killer be able to, you know, carry people before. I mean, just look at Rogue back in the day. Like, why is he not able to do that now? So honestly, you know, you're kind of spitting low key. I'm not, you know, I still think it's a little low in terms of his overall talent, but your results and
that,
you know,
that's where I went back and forth. I think
it is
first
right.
at his highest was number 8 for me, and then he just kept getting bumped down by looking at people and being like, no, just better.
Yeah.
Like, I think all I'm gonna say is we're gonna get to a pick in a couple, and I think it's one that one of you guys has here that I think is an exact example of first killer, but he did better.
Yeah, okay. Actually, speaking of, you know, the results and a player carrying, how about World's offensive MVP at 14?
Yeah, that's...
I think that's a little
That's
insane.
a bit low for me.
A bit low? You're the one that put it? Hold on a minute. Wait, damn second.
Oh, I thought Joy. Wait, I was thinking Joyo. Oh, wait, it was LJ? Okay, my bad.
LJ.
Wait. No, but the thing is, LJ, like... The thing is, like, I feel like you can say the same thing that you said about, like, first killer. Whereas in, like, LJ, the first 2 splits, right? Like, he was still really good. But, like, he wasn't, like, they weren't able to win that much, like, space station-wise. Whereas, like, first killer on FaZe, the first 2 splits was insane. Like, first killer was probably best player NA, if besides, like, Appjack, Chronic, maybe. But, like, first killer was crazy first 2 splits. And then last split kind of fell off a little bit. But, like, again, like, it was the team, a little bit weird. And then LJ kind of rose, especially this last split, with how SSG was playing really well together. So I feel like, I don't know, like I'm going to say like recency bias, but like I also have other stuff on my list that like completely contradicts what I'm saying right now. But I feel like you got to respect first killer. Like I feel like you still have to put him above LJ at least, which is because like how consistent he's been throughout his whole career. And he's had like 1 bad split now.
I don't know. I feel like it's a tale of 2 results, though, right? LJ is just slowly ascending, and they just look better and better, whereas first killer is just slowly descending, and they're looking worse and worse. I don't know. I'd value the NA offensive MVP, or not even NA, World's offensive MVP.
I think it's also like it's the circumstances are a little bit different. For LJ, he never had the right team. He had gone through multiple teams and iterations of where people were like, "Hey, you have the potential, but you're just not showing it." And when he did actually get the team that worked with him, they had Hawkster, and immediately LJ goes from like, all right, potential to arguably one of the best players in North America.
Yeah.
First killer had no excuse for why he fell off. Or yeah, okay, internal issues, all of that, fine. But even individually, he went from like killer to every shot is on point to there. Tell me I'm wrong. Were there not regionals you were watching FaZe at the end of the year where you're going, wow, first killer's the slowest player on the pitch. What is happening?
Yeah. Bro, there was games that I was like, why do Typical and Mist just look better than him? Like why
Right?
is it?
That's what I'm
I was
saying.
like, this should not be happening when you're like arguably top 3 player. When some people are saying back at that time. I mean, you're coming off a world or not worlds. You're coming off a major final. Like what?
It's why he's like split in the middle for me. Like you move him 2 or 3 high, 2 or 3 lower. I totally get it. It's just kind of hard for me to put him somewhere where I'm like, yeah, he's top 10 player on the planet, or even bottom him out and put him in the like back 20. Like that's where it's hard. Is that like he has to go somewhere on this list. 14 is just kind of where he ended up for mine.
Yeah, I like that.
Okay. That's fair. Yeah, I mean, I could see LJ higher. I could definitely see LJ higher on my list.
Y'all gonna have some questions about some of the people because I'm looking at some of the people you guys have already had listed down, and they're gonna be way too high on my list.
Way too high.
Alrighty.
I mean, it's probably the same. Oh man, there it is.
It's EU.
It is.
It's blue.
I like
Blue
this.
wall right here.
I
like
have
this
no
a lot.
issues with any of these except for I still think Rise is low.
I low key now that you're saying
Wow,
that, I kind of
okay.
would. I'd probably put him like top 9, 8 now, but it's fine, close enough. Now I'm thinking about it, but yeah, I don't know. I don't mind any of these.
Yeah, I think we got some good stuff here. Looks like I'm the first person to have Seiko, so I guess you guys have him higher.
I rate
I don't know.
Seiko
I
a
can't
lot,
justify having him. Like I've got nothing to criticize. Like having him higher or not. Wait, I've got nothing to. I'm so lost right
Bro,
now.
forgot words.
I think 13 is a good spot for Seiko. Like I could understand him being higher, but I think this is a good spot for him.
I don't think I
That's
have an
fair.
issue with any of these here. Again, Rise takes my biggest complaint, but I also understand, like, again, from Bop's perspective of how he's described him, I think it's very fair to look at him and go individual in terms of, like, mechanical abilities, all of that. You don't necessarily exceed, so I can understand him going at 13.
Yeah, I kind of do want him higher. I would have put him higher, but yeah, no, it's okay. It's okay. Let's see 12. Let's move along.
All right, let's keep
Okay.
it going.
Okay.
Another Joyo.
Yeah,
back.
Itachi,
Daniel,
Joy.
12, wow.
Okay. See now,
Multiple
I have my sole
Think
reasoning. I don't think we need to explain the other 3, but my sole reasoning for Daniel this high is the talent. It's there, right? Everybody knows the talent's there.
Okay.
And number 2, I think he's just ascending now. I think he's finally figured it out. I think it's there. We saw it at Gamers 8. I rate Gamers 8 more than you 3. And I think, Daniel, we're going to see something special this upcoming year. I'm putting in my stock into young Dan to see him ascend to the ranks of NA, top 1, top 2 team next year. That's all I got to say. Nothing else.
Version 1 didn't make Worlds, and you have 2 of their players in their top 12. That's
I do.
crazy.
I
That's
do indeed.
crazy.
But see. Right? They did win the regional, right? But then they sucked, right? So it's just inconsistency. If they weren't as inconsistent, and we have seen their peaks, we've seen how good they can be. That's a can be pick right there. That's all I'll
Did
say.
they
I
win?
mean, it's fair enough.
Did they win Bottle Job of the Year?
Honestly, yeah. Yeah, give
I
it to
think
them.
no. I mean, like for
On
Shogun's poll.
Shogun's did
Yeah,
Let me
did-
check.
Oh, did they?
I think
Yeah,
they did,
won.
right?
They won
They
70%
definitely
to
should've.
30.
I voted
Like
for
they,
that. I'm not gonna
they
lie, I did vote.
dominantly won that.
Damn.
Oh no. Oh goodness. I don't know.
I mean, to give V1 the benefit of the doubt, even though they did look bad in some of the series that they lost in the spring, most of their losses were against other really good teams. Like they lost to
Yeah.
They
Complexity.
lost to Koi, best team in the world.
I mean, yeah.
Okay,
that
yeah.
one.
All right,
Koi
never
was the
mind.
one they
There
should have
goes
won.
the good
dude.
team
That
argument.
was
Koi-
the, I
Koi
think that
was
was the
the-
outlier.
Wait, no,
was
Koi's
it not?
amazing. Wait, was it?
Okay,
that's not
buddy.
the outlier? Wait.
Bob's
Actually,
like,
that's
wait,
true.
this back
Sosa tweeted about it. Sosa dropped a
That is
tweet.
true.
He said that they were gonna win. He ended up winning. So he's on his Vatira arc.
That is true.
I love
He's
to
on his
see it. I love to
Vatira
see it.
Sosa tweets a lot though. Sometimes they come true, sometimes they don't. It's fine.
True.
Look, if you make a million shots, if one of them hits, you can brag about the one that hits.
That is
Like
true,
that's all you
yeah.
gotta do.
Just look at
Exactly.
Yo,
Yo,
didn't have to call him
Oh
out
my
like
God.
that.
It's true. We all know it's true. Ah, okay. Wait, honestly, I like this as well. Actually, I don't mind this. I think
Yeah.
Khalid is good. First Killer is good. LJ is good. Yeah.
Yeah, I got FK just outside my top 10. I needed to see more from them, but
It's kind of honestly, it's
I
kind of
think
crazy
this
that we're in a
individual
world
still
right
has
now
to be
that FK is not top 10. I feel like that's actually insane for
Yeah.
the talent he is.
Alex,
Like, and I'm not like we can't even really argue it. Like you can't have like a crazy argument against it either, which is like crazy in itself.
yeah.
I don't think I really have an
Yeah.
issue with any of these picks. I think I understand TRK and Clear's going this high. Again, First Killer was my pick 3 ago, so I get that.
Yeah.
I mean, I honestly think that our like 15 to 10 at this point has been pretty
I think it's been solid,
understandable.
yeah.
I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. I agree.
Honestly, the
This
only one in
row
there
is-
in the entire top 15 that's a little wild to me is Seiko. I just have him a little bit lower, but even then, I don't think it's that bad. So
That's fair.
Yeah.
I also
very,
I have to
yeah.
I have to preface or preface. What's the word? I have to preface. I actually did
Preface,
forget
yeah.
Seiko. He would be a little tired than not on my list.
I know.
So
It's like-
it's fine. The bull. Let me tell you about the bull. Number 10 on the list. Raise bull.
Yeah, you got him.
All right,
in your
CJ.
I did put him in the 10. No, actually, I was before CJ. I would need to say this right now on national TV. I had the bull rated way before CJ. It's just that CJ's way
I
more
will
popular
DM
than
him
me,
this
but it's
right
fine.
now. I will absolutely
Do
stir the
it.
pot.
Do it. No, don't DM him. Just
what?
tell him. He's got a friend. He's got a friend back in the bowl out here. But yeah. the
Wow,
bull,
you really shut
I
that
think
down.
he's
You shut that down.
fantastic. Yeah.
Jack doesn't want it, bro. He doesn't
Jack
want
does
No,
not want the
there's no
smoke from CJ.
No, I want the love.
Immediately.
Two bull lovers. We have to combine and shake hands. Maybe I'll have the bear on here soon too.
Not like that phrasing.
Ooh.
the phrase. But yeah, no. I think the
Not
bull.
like the phrase two bull lovers. No.
Yeah, I
God.
explained a little bit earlier, but I do think, like I said, when he's at his very best, I think he is the best player on that team. And honestly, I think also in Game 7s, when they were needing to ice up, I think he actually was probably the best on that team a lot of times, whereas AJG and CR were a little less icy. Although I will say Bass was right. I do agree with Bass when he said that the floor for Raise Bowl is definitely lower than some of these than CRR at least. But yeah, I think his ceiling is much better. And I just
can
love the
see
bull.
that.
Honestly, that's all. That's all.
I feel like a lot of my top 10 is just players that I look at and go, I love you. I hope you get.
Yeah.
Like,
I get that.
Beautiful.
Yeah,
shout
Yeah,
out
that's
to
how I
Rado
feel
Picks.
about Joyo,
Bob knows
dude.
What's up?
I like that Radozen. Yeah, I think he has to be top 10.
No.
Without
Man,
a
I
doubt,
really-
definitely top 10 right now.
Man, I've forgotten like 3 players. 3 EU players.
Don't
forget
tell me
Radozen?
Rado's not on your list.
Oh,
He's not.
no.
He's
Wait.
not.
Oh,
No,
Simply
Radosin!
best
Honestly,
player
okay.
at Worlds.
Honestly, though, actually, I think I think you can defend this one pretty easily, though. I feel like throughout the
what?
entire
Radisson not being top
Nah,
25?
you can't do it, bro.
Definitely. No, you definitely
You
can't.
can't do
This
it,
guy-
bro. Okay, go ahead.
his
Okay,
Go
weight-
ahead and
alright,
try.
okay.
His
Go ahead and
weight
try.
for how bad he was in certain series, it outweighs everything else. Like, this guy had
No.
times was the sole reason
Wait,
that this
where?
team would go down, lose games, anything. I mean, he was own goaling.
Oh, okay,
he
okay,
was
but-
shooting horribly. I mean, it was
Zen
bad.
also own gold, so
But they
I mean,
also
yeah, but they
literally
also-
never lost. Like, they
Yeah,
even
Worlds
with
I mean,
Within-
you are right, but I mean,
Never
you gotta
lost.
see. Yeah, you still gotta see Alpha and Zen. The Alpha and Zen, they're pretty high. I mean, your Alpha and Zen.
Do you
probably
think,
too.
so in your mind, are Alpha and Zen basically carrying Rado to this Worlds? Is that what you're saying?
Not at Worlds, no. And in fact, actually, I think Worlds was the one exception. I think all the other things they played, major or regionals and the major, I think it was most definitely a carry job. But Worlds, actually, I mean, I think you can make an argument for Radosin maybe being the best player at Worlds in certain series, but I don't know. I
100%
can't
agree.
rate that.
Yeah,
I can't
agree.
rate that fully. I mean, the major itself, I think, was all I needed to see, to be honest with you. Like, that set it up.
Disagree.
I mean, he won Worlds. He
I
won
mean, he
Worlds.
did, but like, I feel like, right? I feel like if you're rating 3 players in the top 10, I feel like this team is just unstoppable, which they were, right? Don't get me
And
wrong.
they were unstoppable.
They were,
Okay.
but if you're rating them all top 10, I feel like they had to just be rolling over teams, and that was not the case.
And they were!
No,
Hell
no,
no,
I
they
know.
didn't.
No, they did not. No, that is not true. What do you mean? They were not rolling.
They gotta
over-
roll over teams. They
Nah,
took
nah,
2
nah.
series losses ever.
I mean, yeah, but
fell
like, did you
asleep
see
in the
this
grand
series?
final.
I mean, yeah, the finals was bad, but that was BDS being bad. That was not them being peak.
I mean,
I don't know if I agree with
I
that.
don't know,
I don't think
yeah.
that was BDS being bad. I think that was literally just
I don't know.
they had an entire day of warm up, and Vitality came in and went, "Hey, we just faced what used to be the best team in EU. This is the only team that has won a major besides us. That's the best you have to offer. Get ready." And then that confidence just carried them.
I mean,
Yeah.
I guess, yeah.
yeah, I feel like the only way you can like salvage this Jag is if you have Zen number 1, Alpha number 2, then maybe I can
Yeah.
respect it.
I agree.
That's the only way. I think.
Salvage. I think that's honestly. I think you guys are more crazy than that. Honestly, I think having all 3 top 10 is crazier than that.
Nah,
I
dude.
do. I
not
mean-
for the performance, bro.
I mean, they are,
performed
but
so
like, I
well.
don't know. Yeah, but like Radosin hasn't performed forever that well. Like, I don't know how you can say.
Look,
he
as
has
a
been good.
longtime Rado stan, dude was literally on WR before anybody even gave a living
good on
crap about
results,
him. Like,
Mm-mm.
the kid is night and day difference. The old inconsistent Rado is not what we see anymore. I think that at a certain point this year, I can see that argument, but I think now he has turned into a very different player. player.
So you're just rating Worlds, is what I'm hearing on that one.
No, I'm rating the Spring Split, the Spring Major, Worlds. Like, all three of those, I don't think I look at Rado and go, you were inconsistent and bad.
Oh, I think I would. 100% I would.
That's great.
It's okay, though. Let's see 9. Okay. Again, Seiko a little too high for me. Other than that, I think it's fine.
Interesting.
I like Rawas at 9. I'm with it.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Abstract 9 is interesting. Yeah.
Similar to what I argued with him before. Is just that I think, like, you know, again, might have kind of had a poor performance at the end of the year, but still being able to take a team and will them into top 8 while arguably being the only player that was on. Like,
That's true.
It definitely, you gain a lot of respect in my mind for that.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's a good, I like that. That analysis on Appjack.
I can't believe. Okay, so Bop and Money, do you guys have first killer on your list? I'm just in general.
Money does.
I guess
11.
we'll see.
Yeah, I had mine at 11. Yeah.
Oh, you had him at 11. So far
Yeah.
we've had 14, 11, and 9 for first killer. I feel like first killer going anywhere in that range is a fair argument.
I think anywhere from about 8 to 19, you could genuinely just make a case. For.
Yes.
Like, I don't even know. Like, around that.
Okay, we'll see. We'll see.
I think
My
any
list
higher
on
is
it.
just wild.
We'll see if Bob has about 8.
First killer gotta be
Yeah.
number 1 on Bop's list. Straight up.
Imagine the NA
years
would go
ago.
crazy.
He's going.
All right, let's see it.
Ooh.
Okay. Yeah, I like that again. Again, Seiko too high. Other than that, it's fine.
So yeah, I rate TRK really high. I really like TRK.
I get that.
I love TRK. I think, man, TRK really finished off the season so well. I feel like he's ascended so quick.
Yeah, he was insane.
Can't really argue against any of this.
I like
I'm surprised. Oski's high for, I think, in comparison to everybody else's list. We've got 219 to 13, and you have him at 8.
Yeah, I think he was just easily the most consistent player, and I think being the most consistent player at the at the gameplay level that he was playing at throughout the season was just enough to put him there. I mean, I think it's a pretty simple explanation on that one. I feel like.
I don't think it's arguable. I think that, like, again, Oski has to go on the list somewhere for all of us.
Yeah,
Wherever he gets placed makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But unless he's like top 4, I think you generally could argue like.
Yeah, you put him top 4. We got some issues.
Yeah, maybe not that, but yeah, we'll see. Me and Money. Oh, so Money put a Tau at 16. Okay, so I don't have a Tau yet either, but.
Wow. Okay.
Well, we'll see if he's coming up.
Yeah.
We will see.
Ah, there he is.
There he is.
There it is. Atomic at 7, LG at 7,
Beast
Mode.
mode. Oh my.
I've got beast mode, the beast.
I love it.
It's a lot of recency bias, I'll be honest, but I think he's back. I think now he's here to stay. I think now's the time.
Yeah, you spin. I think
Like,
until
even in the
in
the threes for beast mode, like even in the threes during Gamers 8, I know you said the stat, they only won 40% of their games. But dude, beast mode was still popping off in threes. He was still popping off in threes.
Yeah, I think they won 55% of their games. Did they not?
No, I think the exact stat was they lost 55 and they won 45. I think
Oh,
so.
really?
It's not exactly 40, but I know that they lost more games than they.
I think the thing for the
Did they?
threes though,
I
for
swear
beast
I
mode,
did.
where you totally can defend
I
him
think
on,
you
I
put
feel
out
like
the stat.
if you do look at threes though, I feel like beast mode definitely was the best threes player on that team. Like throughout their threes games, like he easily looked the best. In fact, he was carrying a lot, I feel like, throughout that event. So if you're rating that, I like that. Also, I think a Toe and Atomic a little too high, but really I don't hate it that much.
I was gonna say, I understand beast mode going into this position. I think for me, it's just not enough evidence to back it. But I think in theory, beast mode is the 7th best player on the planet. I agree with that.
Fair enough.
Okay.
What's a Toe doing at 7? That's honestly the most questionable one to me.
I like a Toe. I feel like the way he's able to change his playstyle throughout the season was really impressive to me. Like the way that he I feel like at the beginning of the season, I never really thought of him as like a demoer per se. But then like the way towards the end of the season that he like used that to his advantage and like brought Liquid to a top 4, I feel like it was really impressive. Maybe you could argue maybe not top 7, but like I just felt like what he did for that team, like he just impacted the offense so much and like was making so many openings for both Oski and Acronic. And like it let Acronic and Oski shine a lot. Like I feel like it was one of Acronic's best performances at Worlds, and that was largely because of what Atao was doing. And also like kind of what I was saying before, like I feel like his peak is still the highest on Liquid, and like I just value that a lot.
Yeah, looking at your list as a peak
Yeah,
list,
that's good
it
stuff.
makes
Yeah,
so
it
much
really
sense.
is.
Like all of it, like it's
Yeah, yeah.
200% not justified. Like I can't argue with that. Like that totally makes sense.
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
biggest
And a lot
thing
of
I feel
players
like-
honestly
Go
couldn't
ahead.
do that. So like big shout out to Tao, because like
True.
people like First Killer, he's not gonna turn into like a demo
not
merchant.
switching it up.
So yeah, shout out to him.
Yeah.
What were you gonna say, Jag?
Oh, the thing with the list, I feel like genuinely we all four somehow justify our list in different ways. Like it's like
Yeah.
there are
Facts.
different ways we explain it, which honestly is kind of entertaining because usually watch these and you're like, yeah, that guy's just dumb because everyone's just
The
basing
same
off the
list.
same
Yeah.
thing. But it's like
Yeah.
from this guy's explanation. I mean, yeah, sure. Like
It's
okay.
one of these things where it's like that's why I feel like some of the lists that when you see people do that, it's so entertaining because you go in and they don't have an argument. It's just no, he's that
Yeah.
good, and you go, oh come on, and then
Yeah,
just have
it's
to
like-
hear them explain it.
Right.
Yeah.
I like the common ground here, kind of though, even though they're different.
Yeah,
like,
again.
it's entertaining. All right.
None of
let's
these
see.
are uninformed picks. Like none of them.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh. Oh.
Wow. Okay.
Hey, we got some Rule 1 gamers.
Okay.
We do have some Rule 1 gamers.
So let's hear it.
Sure.
Tell me why Ruwas is him and not Clears again.
I mean, same idea. I think that Rawas overall has a better defensive prowess, and I still think you guys are underselling his offensive abilities. I do agree Clears is better offensively, but I don't think that it's like night and day. You look at him and go, wow, what a horrible player offensively. I still think Rawas deserves more credit just because he isn't the like shining star of that team offensively. I think he's just the individually more well-rounded player. And again, I do think part of this is probably the one pick that Gamers 8 really did impact.
Yeah.
Rawas didn't look touchable at Gamers 8.
Yeah.
There was
Yeah,
maybe one
that's
other
fair.
player on the
That's true.
planet who was better than him at that event, and his name was Beast Mode. But the difference with Beast Mode doesn't have threes results to back it up. Rawas has everything and threes results to back it up in my mind.
Yeah.
And he beat him in the 1v1.
Yup.
It was a close one though. It was a close one.
That's true, that's
Honestly,
true.
that
It
was
was a good
pretty
match.
pretty crazy. Clears, I mean, yeah, it's kind of just the exact opposite of what Bass
Yeah.
said. I think he's a better player because of the offense. So I don't know, and I think his defense is
I
good
get.
enough too. So yeah. Okay, now first killer at 6 to me, and honestly Radosa at 6. I think both of those are too high.
Okay, dude. Radosin, he did so much for the team, bro. I had Radosin
by
at 9.
6,
I had the entire country of France in my DMs. Radosin at 9? Are you kidding? Are you kidding? I rewatched some
Please put him
tape.
on the list.
He's
Yo,
like, yeah,
dude.
I'm going for the French vote this time. No problem, guys. Huge.
No, but I rewatched some of the series, and dude, he actually had a lot of impact. Radosin actually had a lot of impact.
Yeah, I'm not
At
denying
Worlds,
his
he was
impact
crazy.
when he is good. Yeah, Worlds he was so good, and I can give you that, and that's why I can see you putting him that high.
I get
Honestly, he
Rado at
probably
6.
should be on my list, but yeah, no,
Gee,
I don't know.
I-
6 is
Probably.
should be.
6 is a little too high, way too high. All right, let's hear
Yeah,
let's
so
hear
yeah.
this first
This is good
killer at
form.
6 though.
FK for me, like, okay, so like I can of course say like the peak thing, but like realistically for me, FK is still that guy, and he's been that guy for so many years in NA, like literally like what 3 years, maybe longer, since he was a kid, since he was like 12 years old. Everyone's like, oh my god, FK, you know. But like nowadays, of course, you know, the spring split did not go his way. But like the way that he's looked throughout the whole season, like before that, and like even still, like I feel like during the spring split, you guys said that like sometimes he was the worst player on the pitch, and like maybe, but like he's still overall the most consistent player. Like if you look at that team, you're always gonna say FK is the best player. You look at NA, and you're still always gonna have, in my opinion, like FK like top 5, and for me like top 2, top 3. I just feel like what he can do on the pitch, like almost maybe no one else can do besides like Zen. Like I feel like his impact on the pitch is like unlike anyone else. And I feel like no matter what team he joins next season, whether it's like a Gen G, whether it's someone else, I don't know. I feel like he's gonna elevate that roster so much. Like if he like for Nolly, for example, even though it's not the same position that they play, like it's a very different play style. I feel like he would make Gen G like top 1 team easy, which they already were, but like once again, like top 1 team. I feel like his impact is like just different. Is different.
Now see, this might be the first like argument that I just genuinely don't agree with, because you said he's like that Zen like
Really?
player. We have seen how good Zen has been and what Zen can do. First killer, if he is actually that level, which I think he is a great talent, but if he is at that level, he should not be getting the results we have seen in the past 2 months, 3 months even. Like it has not been great for them, and I mean honestly, he has not looked like the first killer we knew beforehand.
I do agree, but it's like it's only one split that
I mean,
like
yeah.
this has happened.
But
Like
it's
every
also
other
the
split
most
he's played in,
important
he's
one
been
recently.
insane. That is true. That's true. Obviously, of course, the most recent one. So I understand that. But like, I feel like, yeah, like I feel like Alpha Radosin just right now is a much better duo than like Mist and Sypical, based off, of course, everything we've heard, everything that's happened. And
Based
like,
off the
if you
mental.
put, yeah, if you put First Killer on Vitality in place of Zen, I feel like they still probably win Worlds in the major.
Oh, I
So
don't know if I agree.
I don't
with that.
know, because like
I-
they have the skill to,
Mhm.
but I think that like the way that Zen like kind of stepped back earlier on in like the first couple of regionals he was in to like mesh with the team and like fill his role. I don't know.
Yeah.
I feel like if the chem doesn't work between FK and Alpha, like there's not enough boost on the pitch. Something's gonna happen.
Yeah.
It's not gonna work.
I don't think
Okay. I don't
I don't think First Killer and Pharaoh would mesh quite as well as Zen lets them all
Okay,
do
maybe
as well.
that-
You
yeah,
brought
yeah.
in the coach.
I-
Could be some
Brought in the
issues.
coach.
I think also I'm just kind of burnt out on First Killer. I feel like for so many years we've touted him as he is the next guy up. He's
Yeah.
going to start getting wins, and then no matter what team we put around him, he just doesn't actually
mean,
produce
yeah.
any wins. And I think that's where it's like I agree with you. I think he wants to be Zen. I think he wants to be Zen. I think he wants to be Appjack. I think he wants to be Rise. He wants to be that guy you put him on a team and they instantly get better. But I
Yeah.
think the issue is that he's so insistent on making the team better that he just does it himself. Rather than
Yeah.
making the whole team
Yeah.
elevate, he just goes in and is the best player, which is why I think that this end of the year is so emblematic of his overall career. I want First Killer to succeed. I want him to live up to the expectations.
Yeah.
But I think my issue right now is that it's like the end of the year left such a poor taste in my mouth. And I know that's
Yeah,
been an
that's
argument
fair.
against everything else that I've put
Yeah.
on my list so far. But like legitimately, I just him honestly, it's not even just the 3v3. Him playing in Fierce Tournament and literally winning a single game through 2 series in
oh
a
God.
1v1
That was pretty
blew
wild,
my
yeah.
mind. Like,
That was wild.
legitimately.
Yeah. You know, Bass, also to help you back that kind of, it was also just the fact that, you know, First Killer, you said that he has to be, or he wants to be that, you know, the Rise, the Appjack, the whatever. I feel like the perfect example of that is the Spring Major, when they made the finals. I feel like he was more that
Yeah.
player that they needed him to be, then eventually it seemed he wasn't after that. So I don't know what happened with him, but hopefully he gets back to the top 5 next
I
year.
will
'cause
say,
he's
First
that
Killer
good.
is peak, though. Like, First Killer is peak absolutely isn't the number 6 player on the planet. Totally
Yeah,
get that. That's
definitely.
absolutely fair.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. And speaking of top 5, let's get into it.
What do we got?
Let's see what we got.
Oh, there we go. Okay. I like the LJ
Okay.
that high. I like the me and Bop synergizing yet again. That's 2.
I
I'm
like
pretty sure.
that. Mm.
And the Monkey Moon. Monkey Moon's actually a little bit low. Honestly, I think Monkey Moon's the one I have the biggest issue.
Yeah.
I think Monkey Moon
Really?
could be a little bit higher.
I
Yeah.
also agree.
I don't think there's a world where I look at Monkey Moon and say that he is better than Alpha or Zen this year. I think that Monkey
Really?
had a great end. He had a great end to the year, but his consistency throughout was bad. Like, again, I feel like a lot of people kind of forget that BDS was literally bad. Like, they weren't good. Like, before Rise was there, they
a good
were
point, actually.
top 10 in
That is true.
EU at maximum. Like, literally.
Yeah, it's pretty wild.
I think the one thing that you can say though is like once Monkey did get his, you know, the third that they started meshing, like he genuinely just was just insane. Like, like
Yeah.
they
Yeah.
took. I mean, what?
Yeah.
What was it? 2 finals? Like,
I credit that more to the Rise than to Monkey Moon, though.
I
I
mean,
think
that- yeah,
Rise
that's
is
fair
what
enough, I
allowed him to
guess.
get back to that level more than it is
Yeah.
Monkey Moon just returning to it.
I think as a talent though, Monkey's just
Fair.
the better player than
Great.
Rise.
Oh, so you don't have Rise on your list yet? Okay.
I think it's
Interesting.
gonna be top 3. I
Yeah,
think
we
we
got
called
Rise
it. I
coming
think
in.
he's gonna have it.
Okay, I guess that makes sense then. If you put that on Rise more, then it makes sense. Like
effect,
for me,
yeah.
I have Rise at 18, and then I have Monkey Moon somewhere else. So for me, I value Monkey Moon a lot more. But I do understand like the argument for sure what Rise has done to help BDS and like help Monkey Moon get to the
Yeah.
position where he is right now.
When we get
So-
when we get to where Rise is on my list, I will make my arguments of why.
Yeah.
Like,
I think we actually. I just want to say this too. I think me and Bob might actually have very similar top 4. I'm not sure though. We'll see. I think I might have somebody that he
I
doesn't
think
have.
so.
I think we all have number 1 the same. I'll give it that. At
Yeah.
least. Like, I think that's.
I don't
Yeah.
know. You never know these days. Someone
Me and
knows.
Dragon are the
swear to
same
God.
top
There
5.
might be a
I think.
wild
I
card
know.
coming in.
Oh
We're
god.
gonna see. All right, let's see the forward.
We'll
Oh
see.
gosh.
All right, let's
I'm
keep
getting
it going.
scared. What's it gonna be?
We'll
What do we
see.
got?
We'll see.
What's going on here?
Ooh.
Oh, wait, no.
Oh,
wait, I think
wait a
Bob-
second.
There we
Wait,
go.
nah,
Wait, Bob,
what
I
is
think we do.
this?
I think we
Wait
actually do have the top 4. No, I think we
Wait
actually
a
do.
second.
Very nice. Very nice.
Oh my God.
Beautiful.
Yo, I thought I was believing in beast mode.
Nah, we're the
You
believers.
guys were believing more.
Money.
Top
You want?
five.
Dude.
Bob, tell him about the beast. Tell him about the beast. Talk to him. Talk to him.
Bro, the talent, I'm telling you, my list's all about the peaks. Bro, Beast Mode's peak, best in NA by far right now. What he did at Gamers 8, I know we're not valuing Gamers 8 as much, but what he did there was crazy. I think throughout the season, they missed 2 lands, right? They missed 2 out of 3 lands, like, in the majors before Worlds. I feel like he was still a top 3 player NA throughout that whole time. Throughout that whole time, they missed out on everything. Doesn't matter how the team's doing. I think in Beast Mode, similar to FK, he is that guy, and I feel like he's always going to be one of the best players in NA. I believe in him. I believe in him. Top 4 right there for me.
I think I mostly agree with you, but adding on to that, I think for me to have him so high, like I said, I rate Gamers 8 a lot more than you guys. And Gamers 8, this guy was, I would say, the best overall player. Maybe you can make an argument for Ruas there. But I do say, I don't know, the Beast, he came out of nowhere in 1s, let me tell you. That in itself was pretty damn impressive. Then you went to 3s, where I thought he was easily their best player in 3s. Then you went to 2s, and they were undefeated in 2s. And then you also have to factor in, even though they did not make Worlds, they did still win a regional at the end. And I know it was NA, blah, 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 but the Beast, he's always there. He's always there. Whenever you need him, he's pretty consistent as well. He's so good. So you got to have the Beast every time.
All right, so I'm curious. If you factor in Gamers 8 so much, how come Garrett G's at top 25? He wasn't there.
Garrett G. I mean, he's 25.
Garrett G above Radosin? Above Radosin?
I mean, overall, here, this might seem like a crazy take. I genuinely think Garrett G, he's the perfect enabler player. And if you replace Garrett with Radosin, I think that team probably has very close results, as long as the chemistry works. I don't think that's that insane.
Maybe.
I think that's where it's difficult, is that Garrett could make this list any day of the week, but it's only in theoretical terms.
It's always exactly. You gotta I don't know. I think I don't think you can argue that though. I think Garrett is the talent, and he finished the year off strong as well. Even though they didn't make things, I think he did.
I think we all want Garrett to be top 25 in the plan. I think we can all agree on that.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
All right.
I want to see greatness from the young
Is it
man.
time, bro? I think. But wait. Let's take a guess really quick. Are me and Bob gonna have the same top 4 or top 5 actually?
No,
You guys
there's
don't have
no
to say
way.
We
top
will.
4, yeah.
There's no way. Actually, wait, there's a way.
Oh, there's definitely
Probably
a way.
There is
Alpha.
a
You guys
way.
are probably gonna have the same
I
top
don't know.
5. Actually, I'm realizing you
I
guys
think
also
so,
have
I
number
hope.
5 the same too.
Yeah.
Oh my.
I'm
Alright,
It
let's
depends
see
on how we do 2 and 3, but we'll
Yeah.
see.
Yeah. So this will.
Oh, we did.
No,
Shot. That's what I'm talking about.
Shot, bro.
Huge.
Wow.
Me and Bob.
Actually, the same top 5.
My
Beautiful.
phone's going crazy. Oh no.
Oh.
It's not happy about Fatira at 3.
No, that's fair.
I don't know.
I think Monkey
I get
Moon
that.
more impressive
I agree.
recently
Towards the end,
than
definitely. I would agree.
Vatira.
And I mean, they made finals. Vatira didn't. I think it's that simple, honestly. For me, I think you could use that. And Rise at 3. I think that's kind of the same explanation as that, maybe. Kind of.
Yeah. My argument is just that I think Rise is the best facilitator on the planet. He's the best glue on the planet. He goes onto a team, he automatically makes them better. He has done that 3 times this year, and all 3 teams after he left, they got significantly worse than him. It is. In my opinion, I think the big reason why Monkey is able to be such a mechanical player and why you get to see Seiko actually do that is because Extra never was the guy to kind of, I don't know what the word is, judge the plays correctly. They would always be an overextension or an underappreciation of attack, and it just would never work out. Rise is in the right place at the right time every single time. And although mechanically I agree he is not nearly the player Monkey Moon or Seiko is, I think I just value him because, bro, he's a natural-born winner. That kid wins. That's just what it is.
Yeah, he
That's
really
true.
is, yeah. He does what it takes. And honestly, you know what's crazy? I think the Rise explanation is kind of almost the same as, First Killer in a weird way. It's I feel like you generally could have Rise at, top 3. I don't know if you could put him 1 or 2. Yeah, you can put him at, top 3, and then he could go all the way down to, 20, I feel like. And that wouldn't even be, insane to say. It really just
he's got to be
depends
somewhere
what
on your
you're
list
valuing.
at minimum, basically.
Oh, definitely, easily.
Yeah. I think First Killer wants to be Rise. I still stand by that. I think First Killer wants to be that player to where he can take a step back, but I think unfortunately for him, he still does have a little bit of a complex to where he wants to be really involved in the play. And look, I get it. When your teammates are always, literally, no matter what team you're on, going to be see than you, it's very hard to let somebody else touch the ball. But it's
I think the talent
sometimes you
in
just
First Killer is better than the Rise, but honestly, I can see you putting him above him. Just the explanation makes perfect sense.
I'm fine with all of these people we've put so far. I don't really have an issue here at all.
You know what's crazy is if we made just like a straight talent list, like just the pure talent these players have, like this list would be insane. I feel like it'd be so different.
Agreed. It's hard to, bro. The best player means a completely different thing to every person.
It really does. Yeah.
Legit.
Oh yeah.
It's like overall the best player, like it's all over. All right, let's see Bop and me finish out the day. As long as Bop doesn't troll something here.
There's no way he has Monkey Moon on the planet. There's no way he does.
Imagine. Okay, let's go.
Yeah.
And you guys are synchronizing on the other side. That's pretty right there. Look at that.
Nice.
Some great
I don't
stuff.
think there's any argument here. I think we can all understand why all of these players
It all
are
makes
like
sense.
that.
Just reveal one real quick as well. Let's see that boy.
We all hail.
Surely someone has something different.
Yeah, I got
Where's Forky?
Wait,
I didn't see
money?
Forky on this list.
Waiting for
Money?
Moxie. Where's he at? Okay, Zen. There you go.
Wait for
okay.
Moxie.
There we go. Let me capitalize my Z, make it nice.
Yeah, I was gonna say that's not too pretty. Look at me and Bop though. That's got to be like one of the best signatures
That's
any
top
of these lists ever.
Wow.
Like
That's crazy. You guys
That's
have top
actually
5
nuts.
completely.
Especially with beast mode. And
Yeah, no,
Yeah, that's insane. You
that's-
both put him there.
I love that. I
love
I literally
it.
made my
Just-
list like an hour
good.
ago, like 2 hours ago. Just
Well,
on the
okay.
train.
Oh my
So.
God.
What was the reasoning on beast mode in top 4 and nowhere else on your list? What in your mind puts him above players like Alpha, like Clears, like First Killer, like Atao, like TRK, all of those guys? What in your minds separates him from the rest of the pack?
Bop, you want to go
For
first?
me,
Okay.
yeah, for me, I just feel like he just individually is more talented.
Yep.
Like when
That's
we've seen him at
exactly
his
what I was gonna
peak.
say.
Yeah, like when we've seen him at his peak, like when we've seen V1, like during they made like a top 3 or top 4 at a major once. Like they've like obviously, of course, in NA done amazing. Like since Beast Mode got picked up by like KCP, he was with the Rapid and Memory, I think. Like he was always like, whoa, this kid's really impressive. Like when we saw him play there, like they made a finals, I think, a regional with Memory and Rapid, which was like pretty incredible. And like now he's only improved since then, and like just what he can do individually, like he's not necessarily like it's interesting. Like I feel like there's other players that are more mechanical than him. Like I feel like he's actually not the best player mechanically. Like when you look at like LJ, someone like that.
It's kind of like
But,
a
like-
Tira, I feel like, with beast mode in a way.
Yeah, I can see that. Like it's just like when you see him, like any player would be scared of him. Like if you see him across, like
I
he's
agree with
your
that, yeah.
opponent, you're terrified, I think.
I don't know if I'd necessarily say he's the same as Vatira. I might almost say Vatira is actually either more mechanical or about exactly the same.
Yeah, I would say
level.
Vatira is more mechanical.
I just
yeah.
mean like they're less mechanical than like say a Monkey Moon or like a Zen though. I feel like those players are just more mechanical players, whereas these two are a little bit more reserved.
Monkey Moon, yes. Zen, no. I feel like Zen has the ability to have those mechanics and has those
How Zen
mechanics
is
in his back
played,
pocket,
maybe
but he
I'd
doesn't.
agree with you.
Yeah, exactly. He doesn't
Okay.
really put it into his play style as much as you might think. At least not anymore in my mind.
Yeah, that's fair enough.
Mhm.
I don't know though. I think the beast mode thing. I think I don't want to make a hot take. This might sound like a T-Bates Alpha 54 last year, but I think beast mode. I think next season we're gonna. This is gonna speak for itself. I think next season is gonna speak for itself.
Agree. Again, the issue with T-Bake's take back then was not that he
Yeah.
had Alpha at that position, is that he said Alpha at the moment was that good of
Okay,
a
yeah,
player, and we
fair
were all
enough.
like, what do you want? Homie, they literally just missed a regional, and he's like top 4 player, and we're all sitting here
Yeah,
like,
that
what?
is true. Alrighty,
Yeah.
let's take a look. Actually, who does everyone
some
think
good
has the
stuff.
best overall list here? Let me see.
Ooh.
Let's look.
It's
through them.
we have such different lists. It's
It's,
interesting.
well, wait, I'll justify it differently, so it's like kind of like
Yeah.
it's kind of up to interpretation.
I will say, I like Bob's list is very spread out in terms of talent from different regions. You have a very diverse list in terms of talent representation from all over. Just because, I mean, I think do we all have 3 Mina players on here? No,
Yeah,
both.
I think.
No,
Four.
Jag and Money, you guys both have 4.
I have
Do I have
4
4?
as well.
Oh,
So
I
you're
do.
the only
Yeah, I
one
do
with
have
3,
4.
Bass.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, right, Nupo. I forgot Nupo guy.
Wait, actually, no, I have 5. Wow.
Oh, you have 5. 1,
Yeah,
2,
I
3,
do.
5. Oh wow,
Oh,
nice.
yeah, you're right,
That's
yeah,
I like
totally
that.
Russ too. Okay, and Clears. I
Okay.
like that. Let me take a look.
I respect that.
Only
Oh wait, I
one
just read.
same
Wait.
player.
Money does not have Drew. I think that is. bad.
Yeah, I had him as like my honorable mention, but also to defend myself, I didn't get to see their world's matches.
Ah, okay.
Like all I saw was the stats. I saw he was insane on the stats, but I didn't get to see the actual games.
He was an absolute killer in the games he was on. He was
He was,
disgusting.
yeah.
It was insane.
If the rest of his
Yeah.
team were as good as him, they might have won a bit more.
I think I wish I'd put Beast Mode somewhere on my list. Similar
Yeah.
Similar to Yan.
gotta have
Yeah, I
him,
wish
I think.
Yan had been somewhere on mine as well.
Man, there's just so
Yeah,
much, there's
Bass,
too many good players. Like that's
Yeah.
Yeah,
just
facts.
getting
Yeah.
minimal.
Dude, I should have had Appjack. That's definitely someone I should have had.
Jack, yeah,
Oh, you don't have Appjack on your. That's
Yeah.
crazy.
No, I don't have Jack.
Oh,
Over,
Appjack.
over like a
Do you have
Jagentek
anybody
and
from-
AJG and Noippo and Hawkster? I feel like that's all wild.
Do you have anybody from Gen G on your list?
Nah, I was too sad that they lost, I guess. I just didn't want to think of, like, I didn't even consider them. I don't know what happened. I didn't think of them at
Just
all.
bummed out.
Yeah.
I will say the
That was
one,
one of my favorite
the
team all
one
season. I don't know
mistake-
how I just didn't think of them.
Yeah, the one mistake I did make was I completely forgot Seiko. Like he would have been probably top 50.
Radozan? Oh.
Yeah,
No, no,
Rado.
An
no,
exotic?
bro.
Yeah,
You're
exotic.
not getting
No.
away from the
No.
Rado pick. Like that's not
Honestly,
happening.
that's fine, but honestly, I don't back him. I wouldn't put him on.
And no exotic too, I think, right?
Yeah, no
Exotic, I
exotic.
forgot.
Yeah,
too,
no
though.
exotic.
Exotic, I forgot. But like, I don't know. Like, I'd slot him
Yeah.
in. Like, I don't know. That's hard.
I don't know
There's
why,
too
but
many players, bro.
your gap between Vatira and Itachi is hilarious to me. Itachi's the second lowest player on your list. Vatira is number 3.
Yeah.
Like you really do think Vatira just carried that team.
I do, yeah, for the most part. But I don't know. It really depends. I feel like on what you're basing it, because I feel like most recently, Vatira has carried them. But if you look way back
yeah.
or further back, I feel like honestly, you can make a case at certain points for any of them being the best. But I feel like looking at the most recent, what we've seen, and their previous results at the most recent stuff. Yeah, I know they're good, but they were still losing, not making finals. I think it's justified enough. I don't know though. I think. Man, these lists, I want to say,
Interesting.
I don't know.
I think
all
Bass,
these.
if
I
Bass, if you,
Yeah. I like Bass's list.
yeah, I like Bass's list. If you switch Rawaz Clears for me, and then you have Beast Mode somewhere on your list, I would probably
Yeah.
say yours
Yeah.
is the best.
See, that's what
I
was
do
gonna
agree.
say.
I messed up not putting Beast Mode on here.
That's what I was
I thought
gonna
about
say.
it. I went back and forth. I realistically, if I were to put Beast Mode on here, though, he would probably go somewhere between like 13th and like 23rd, somewhere in that range, like in that 10 slots probably for me.
Okay.
I understand why you guys have him at 4, though. By the way, I don't think it's a bad call. I just very much a stats person. I want to see the results. I want to see the abilities, and I just don't think Beast Mode did enough for me to be able to put him somewhere in my top 10.
Interesting.
fair.
You know what's crazy? I just realized, I don't think Bop, you didn't have a single complexity player here.
I kind of forgot they existed.
Yeah, yo, everyone forgot people, bro.
Yeah, no, I mean, bro,
I
there's
did
just
forget
too
about
many.
that.
There's just too many players. Like, I don't
Yeah.
even know. Like, how do you
Yeah,
throw
that
them
was
in
my
there?
bad.
If you were to put one on your list, where would you have put them, and who would you have
I
put?
would. I think I would value CRR just a little bit above Razebull, and I would put CRR around like 18, 19,
That's fair.
around there. Yeah.
Would you put him above or underneath Ryzerowski in your mind? Do you think he's a better or worse player than them?
I think. See, this is tough because I probably have Rise a lot higher on my list. I think peak wise, I would put CRR above both of them. Yeah.
Really? Okay.
You know
I
what's
get
interesting
that, yeah.
is there's a single person or single move that I genuinely think would make each list the best list. Like right now, I think me not having either a docent or exotic, choose your one, I think that'd make my list the best if I had one of those
Seiko?
instead of another. Oh, Seiko, yeah, one of those three. One of those three I think is all I need though. And
I think you need all 3 of those on there.
No,
Let's be
see, I
real
don't-
with you.
no, I
I don't
don't
think you just get
agree.
away
I don't
with
agree
one
with
getting at it.
No, I
Like,
don't agree with that. I don't agree with that because like I don't know who I'd get rid
Yeah, at
of
least
for them.
2, bro.
bro,
Like, at least
I don't know.
2,
Having
I
not
don't know.
Seiko nor Rado on the list is crazy to me,
I
man.
don't know, though.
that's
Like, who
just-
would I get rid of though? Like, that's the thing. Like, Garrett G. you
Garrett
get
G?
off, right? Yeah,
Yeah, it's
like,
gotta
you
be
get rid of
Garrett
No,
G,
no,
right?
no,
Yeah.
like- no, but you're saying
Step
3, right?
bottom,
No, listen
bro.
though, listen. You have 3, right? You're saying 3. Like, other than
You can probably
Garrett.
get rid of Ahmad as
Yeah.
well. I think Ahmad's not top
Really?
25 right
I don't
now.
know, man. At
Yeah.
times he was so good though for him. Like at times I,
I
feel
think
like he
Ahmad's
was their best
crazy
player.
good, but like Falcons, in my mind, did not do enough outside of Gamers 8 this year that I can look at anybody but TRK and go, yeah, y'all are. If that makes sense.
I
Like
guess.
it's. I don't, and again, it's not I don't disagree with it, but it's just the big thing that kind of tainted Falcons in my mind for me was that I looked at their run for Worlds, and the teams they played were actually a lot less impressive than I remember.
That is
Because
true,
the wins
actually.
they took
That
were
is fair.
against Team Secret and Crew. That's how they qualified for
Yeah.
top
Fair.
8, and I was like,
Fair.
that's not exactly what I remembered. If that
I
makes
mostly
sense.
just looked at
Yeah.
Ahmad. I thought throughout the season he actually was the most consistent player on that team. Like
I
I,
agree
feel
with
like
that,
when
yeah.
you needed him,
That's
he
fair.
was
Yeah,
the player
that's
that
fair.
was coming up big for them. Although TRK I thought just played so much better at the very end of the season to put him way above. And then also, so
I think-
go ahead.
I was gonna say TRK. I think I go off of Bop's argument. TRK when he's peaking is unstoppable.
Yeah.
he is just so good.
He's so
like
good.
so
Yeah.
good.
And then let's see. So I said every list. I think obviously Bass. I mean, he needs beast mode. I think that's the obvious one.
Yeah.
And then I think Bop probably needs a complexity player of some sort. I think it's just insane to not have one. And then
Bro,
Money.
yeah.
Honestly, overall, Money might be my
Pretty
least
solid
favorite
list.
list. Really, I think that's probably my
Oh,
least
really?
favorite one.
I
Yeah.
like
Oh, wow.
Money's list.
Just because
I
of
think-
his bottom, I think just misses out on a lot of players. Like he doesn't.
That
have,
I
like,
agree.
Like,
Like
he doesn't
who,
have
though?
like he doesn't even have like an app jack. Like you gotta have app jack.
Yeah,
Okay,
no
that was the one I
abjack,
said though.
no CRR makes it kind of difficult. Like
That's
both
fair.
of those
Yeah,
Like, I-
players,
yeah,
even
that's true.
like,
Yeah.
do you have Raze Bull on your list?
He does.
Yeah, I got him
Race
18.
18. He has AJG.
No, I forgot
so...
AJ. I would have had AJ on my list too. I forgot him.
Yeah.
AJ,
Mhm.
yeah,
AJ's
I
another
think
one, yeah.
AJ in my mind would have swapped out for Chicago had I had the option. I
Yeah.
probably would have put him at 25th instead.
Mhm.
True.
That's
Yeah,
fair.
that's fair.
That's fair.
I think they're all good.
I
Honestly,
also
I'm not-
missed out on Hoxer. I should have
Yeah.
Hoxer
Yeah,
on my list, I
Hoxer's-
think.
Hawk would be an honorable
Hoxer's
mention
hard.
for me.
Mm.
Yeah, I
Maybe
think
it's
Hoxer, like, I
close.
think he just fits so well. Like, he played his role so well.
Yeah.
I think I
Yeah.
could have even put him higher.
Mm.
I've also
I'm
been a
not-
Hawkster stand for a hot minute. Since that dude was on Ghost, I've been a fan of him. I remember seeing him on
Mm.
Ghost and just being like, you need to be on a different team. Like, you are
Yeah.
being underutilized here.
I remember Hoxer United when they made World
Oh my
Season
goodness.
8. I was very hyped for that team.
That was a banger.
Rest
And
in
they,
peace,
I
United,
can't
what
remember
they
how
could have
good
been.
they did, but
Mm.
yeah, it was fun times, good times. That was honestly, I think we all had solid lists though. I'm not gonna lie. Usually, I feel like there's one that's just like this is so bad. I think all of them were pretty solid.
None of us are teammates. It's okay.
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah.
Bro, me and Bob, that's still insane to me. Me and Bob
The top five,
is
exact
wild.
same.
That is
Yeah, that's
actually
insane.
insane. Like, especially like you said, with the
Amazing.
beast mode at 4, combining that one, that's
I was gonna say, if you guys get top 5 and it's like a standard top 5
Yeah.
to where you look at it and go, okay,
Yeah.
sure. Beast mode being
Yeah,
number
yeah.
4 for both of you is insane. I can't believe you synced up on that. That's insane to me.
We got that kind of
Exactly,
chem.
I love that.
Uh,
Alrighty though, I think that, ladies and gentlemen, I think that's gonna
Yeah, that
do
was
it
good.
for the list. If somebody wants to take a screenshot, put it on Twitter. Ask the audience. Let's see on Twitter who's got the best one here. We'll give a thumbs up. Thumbs up.
should I do that?
Yeah, go
Should I
for it. Go
post
for
it?
it.
Yeah, go for it.
Okay, let me get a quick screenshot.
Okay.
Screenshot. 3, 2, 1. Okay, I think I got
Bang!
it.
Let's go, baby.
Thank
Good
God
stuff,
you did that
good
before my camera died. I've been on 0% battery.
Yeah,
Oh,
bro, me
really?
too. Actually,
Oh,
I'm at
gosh.
2%. Oh no.
Oh,
Alrighty, though, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for watching. MoneyGo, Bob, Bass, thank you for joining us today on the 50/50. All the episode will be out on YouTube probably tomorrow or the next day, since it is a little bit later today that we're filming it, and then on Spotify as well. Be sure to catch us. If you do !podcast in the chat, I'm pretty sure it links you actually to all of those links and just a summary of the podcast. But yeah, I'll see everybody
sir.
next week, hopefully.